Hello to whoever's watching this. Today was my first day of classes and I absolutely hated it. I'm very frustrated with their educational system, especially Napier, the school that I'm going to right now. The school has not helped us at all um, with the different classes, and they haven't helped us telling us where to find books or notebooks or school supplies in general. They don't actually have a bookstore, so that's not helpful at all. They didn't tell us that. Um, it's been very frustrating, and classes today overwhelmed me. My first class was modern Victorian and romantic poetry, um, and it was a 2 hour lecture, which was not fun because classes at Wesleyan are normally 45 minutes, and this was the longest class I've ever sat through. Um, it talked a lot about, it was really weird because they talk about Americans. They're talking about American poets, the American Revolution, that kind of stuff, so it's really awkward to be an American when they're talking about that. They don't talk badly about it, but it's weird to hear people that aren't Americans talking about America. Um, I definitely felt like an outsider today. I walked into my first class and there were only two people in there because I was a little early. And so I just sat down in a normal spot in the middle of the room. And as people came in for class, they sat in the back. And eventually we filled the entire room because there were 50 people in my class today. But no one talked to me. So that was it was sad in the fact that no one would even approach me because they didn't know me. I don't know if they know that I'm American, that I'm not from their country, but um, yeah, I definitely felt like kind of alienated, like no one wanted to talk to me. And um, there was also a time when they were passing around an attendance sheet, and the girl behind me was trying to hand me the sheet, and I didn't know that she was there. I wasn't paying attention to her, I was paying attention to the lecturer. And the kid next to me actually grabbed the sheet, and all the girls started laughing because I don't know if they were making fun of me or what, but it wasn't very nice. So that kind of made me really miss home a lot. Um, and then I went from that class to my genre text and audiences class, which was also basically today it was a 2 hour lecture. We had normally we have a 1 hour lecture and then we have an hour tutorial, which is kind of like more hands on. Him, the professor, asking questions and kind of like, do you understand the material? Going more in depth with things instead of the lectures being just him talking. So um, it wasn't bad, but I'm taking upper level classes. So it was weird when they would be like, oh, well, you guys are fourth years, which is a senior, and you should know how to do this by now. I don't need to explain it. You know where to turn it in, you know how to do this. And so he didn't talk about how to do it, which really was hard for me because I have no clue what to do. I know that he'll probably help me when if I email him or go one on one, but it was really difficult and I felt very frustrated because I didn't know what he was talking about. There were a lot of times when he would talk about like, oh, well, who hasn't read this book? If you haven't read this book, then you pretty much aren't worth anything. And I've never even heard of the book before, so that made me feel like really bad about myself because I'm an English major and I should have be able to like read things like that. And he basically said that we aren't worth anything if we haven't read that. So um, it was very frustrating, and that happened a lot. My professors today said a lot of things like that. Um, so it was a lot of, oh, you should have done this in your second year, and you know this because you took this class, and because you've had these teachers, I know that you know how to do this. And it was, a lot of it was way over my head, which makes me feel like I'm not going to be good enough to do their homework. One of the classes only has two essays, which really freaks me out. That's your entire grade in the class. One's worth 40% and one's worth 60%. Their grading system also freaks me out. They go up to 100, but no one ever gets that. A girl sitting next to me in my class, I asked her, like, what the normal grades were because one of my professors said that if you just want to pass, you just need to get a 40, which 40 is not passing in America. And she said normal people usually range between 60 and 75. That's the grades that they get, 60 or 75. And if you get like an 85, that's probably the highest you're ever going to get, and that's like an outstanding, you can't do any better than that. So coming from a school where I'm used to getting like 85, 90s, and aboves, it's going to be really difficult, and I'm very scared. I don't know how they're going to grade because I've heard that they don't write the same as we do. As an English major, they write a little different than we do, and I'm a little terrified because I know one of the kids that came here last year said that they take marks off for that. So I don't want to get points deducted because I don't know how to write in their English, their form of like British literature or whatever. I know that being here I only have to pass my classes because they don't count in my GPA at Wesleyan, but I've never missed Wesleyan classes more in my life. I used to think that 45-minute lectures were long and that an hour and 15 minutes every Tuesday and Thursday was horrible. And now I pretty much would give anything to go back and have a short lecture like that. So it's a little weird. And at Wesleyan we have classes that are like, you either have class twice a week or you have it 3 times a week for an allotted amount of time. And here they're called timetables, and it's a lot different because you have class maybe once or twice a week, and it's not the same every time like ours is, like on a system. They're just kind of random whenever, and it's like a lecture, and then you have a time where you meet with the professor, and it's more like one-on-one time, but as a group, kind of like delving into the topics and talking about it instead of just being talked at. So that's a lot different, and I'm very overwhelmed, and they're not helpful. There's a lot of things I need to figure out still. I'm very homesick right now. Today, it's kind of been every other day that I've been homesick. I wasn't as homesick a couple days ago, though. Right now, it's more of I really miss American education and the way that they structure things, and I really like Wesleyan, and I miss my friends because I try to explain things here and no one really, like, I don't feel like anyone understands it because they don't go to Wesleyan, and I don't feel like people understand me as much as people at Wesleyan or my friends do. So I'm frustrated and overwhelmed, and that's about all I got. But hopefully things get a little better, and hopefully we'll get to travel a little bit soon. So yeah, have a good day.